Well, yes, I'm Peter, so to say, and I retired something like 7, 8 years ago. I've been in business all my life. My last employer was a big American pharmaceutical company, and I used to be the managing director for the operation here in Finland. Yeah, so I retired, and somebody asked me that if I would join this person to Kenya, a dentist who wanted to take a break from her job and to do some dentistry in Kenya, and she had found the volunteer job in a dentistry magazine. There was an announcement that they look for dentists, and I wasn't so interested in going there at all, but so reluctantly I joined.
Peter Segersven met with Homa, the executive director of ADRA Finland, whom they discussed about possibilities to work for ADRA Finland. They finally agreed on a project, and Peter went to Kenya for the first time.
And when I came there, I realized that I had got mission impossible. It was not possible to do the thing he was asking me to do there. So I did something else. In a way, it resulted in, a couple of years later, we applied for financing from the foreign ministry to do a project there, which was the youth, to create some employment possibilities for youth. Because, the youth there, the 60% of them are unemployed, and there are no jobs available. There's no industry there. There's nothing, actually. So it's really, very difficult to find a job. So we started a program which is really, it's based on self-employment. That's what I'm still doing today.
Peter Segersven is now the Kenyan Livelihood project coordinator in ADRA Finland. He is our guest in this show, and we met recently for a cup of coffee. Then we talked about school's farming project and the employment situation for young boys and girls who live in remote areas, Kendu Bay and Homa Bay in western Kenya. My name is Thierry Francis. Babane.
Mimi hujicheka kila mara ninapojipata kwenye janga, 'cause most of the time hujipata solo. Wale mi hucheka nao sijui wako wapi. Mko 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 Go, 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 go. Where are you? So you've told the world that you care about me, yet you're a liar, do they even know? Taking pictures, hashtag I'm chilling with her. Sahizi minalia, looking back, you're nowhere to be seen. Ugo, 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 ugo.
It was your first time in Africa?
No, no, it wasn't. It had been tourist visits, staying in fancy hotels, and and I had been to Tanzania, and I climbed up to the Kilimanjaro and to Zanzibar, and but also in South Africa, in Cape Town, in Johannesburg. These places.
Was the first time you were in a village?
Well, this was the first time I was in the rural parts of Africa, and then also, when you go there as a tourist, you don't really see how the life is in those places. You see just the surface. Yeah. But
Obvious
when you go as a tourist, you meet people there, yes. But most of the time you don't go in the depth and understand how difficult it is to make a living and to survive it in a way. So you only see the surface as a tourist, in my opinion. It's you have to to get inside somehow. What you do when you go to these places where tourists never go. Before, in the previous trips I made and visits to Africa were really that the people whom I met, they had met a lot of white people. I was never called Muzungu, but when I go to the villages in Kendu, the children come and they run after me, and they're so surprised to see a Muzungu around.
So, the first time we went to a village, we met people. They don't speak English.
Well, fairly well. The children do actually. Those who go to school, they do. As you know, the school language is English. Yeah, but not the parents usually don't. No.
Yeah. So it was very easy to speak with the children, the young people there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And understand exactly how life is. What did you see? Was different from what you normally see at other places?
I think it comes from my job. You see that when you go into a new environment, it's no different from doing business. That when you get into a situation, you try to understand the situation. To figure out at least my mind works in a way that you try to figure out why are things like they are. Why is, some things are working and you think that, but how can they make it work? Why is it working? But the many things, of course, are geared to the thought that nothing is really working, and then you try to analyze it. That why not? And when then you draw a conclusion which is sometimes right and sometimes it's wrong. In Africa, especially, it's more wrong the conclusions that you make. But anyway, you come to a conclusion and then you try to come to some kind of a solution to help to stop that problem, to make it to change things.
So what were the problems that you encountered in the first?
Well, I think I concentrated very much on the youth employment. Unemployment, more precisely, youth unemployment.
Why is it the sensitive element in
the
whole story?
If 60%, as you know, how the population is growing in Africa. I mean, I think that in Kenya, I think it's 60-70% of the population is youth, young people, and if 60% of them are unemployed, it's a major issue. And we can see it today. It's not only in Kenya, but we can see it today how people want to immigrate to Europe and other parts of the world from the African continent. It is a huge problem that people are unemployed, and that brings with it a lot of other problems. So I think this is it's the biggest problem, one of the biggest problems on the African continent.
What was the daily life of a young person in that place where you are? What was the occupation?
Farming. Yeah, but yes, that's what the vast majority of the young people do. They go to school. They have a reasonably good school system in Kenya. Everybody goes to school more or less, and so they can read and write. That's what that they learn, which is good. But after they finish the school, everybody wants to go to university, which is not possible, of course, but they all want to go to university. But even the academics are quite often unemployed. I mean, and so it doesn't really change their life so much. So what they do is they work on the small plots they have in their homes. And they do some level of farming, and all kinds of small things where they can
And harvests will cover at least what they need at home.
Well, if it's a good year, it does. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you go to these small farms, you see that when it's harvesting time, they eat 3 meals a day, and then after when they start to prepare for the new crop. Then they, eat 2 meals a day while they're waiting for it. And just before they start to be harvesting again, they only eat 1 meal a day. So that's how it works.
Industrial development and employment project is so far doing a great job to young people. The project has 70 entrepreneurial groups. Every group has at least 15 members. And young people with disability have actively participated in these activities. The aim is to get the groups and business activity on a sustainable footing by providing support and monitoring their development as far as possible.
Let me love you, love you, love you. Let's stay focused on just us two. There's no other one like you. Together there's nothing that we can do.
Let me love you, love you, love you. Let's stay focused on just us two. There's no other one like you. Together there's nothing that we can do.
You make me wanna hallelujah. When I think about you, you make me lose.
This employment program that we initiated 5 years ago, which was really based on self-employment. It is really a training program where we give this basic understanding of how to run a business, what is a cost and what is a profit, and how to handle money, and to give them this kind of a basic understanding of what it is to run a business and how to economize with the money, which is a big problem in the rural areas of Kenya, where people have no history of really having money and making money, so to say. It's if you have money, they tend to be spending it and then it's gone. So it's a very comprehensive actually training program for youth groups, and we have trained something like 1,600 people, youth and disabled people, in this training program. And during the course of the program, if they get a business idea, we are training groups, youth groups and disabled groups, and also one task for them is to come with a business proposal, to make a business plan, and we had them to make, the responsibility of making the business plan is among the groups, but we have given them, tools to make a business plan, and then we have also a possibility of giving them a small, soft loan for putting this plan in practice. And we have a lot of examples of those. We have altogether, I think today we have something like 70, 80 working groups who are running a small business. When we started the program, I was hoping to see, all kinds of small businesses, and we do see all kinds of small businesses, all shoe repairs, hairdressers, and all these things. But majority is farming still, They are diversifying in the farming. For instance, some people start to have chicken, Some people, specialize on some certain type of crop which gives good yields and, slightly different from what they usually do there. All these sort of things. And we can also give them practical help because our staff is very much very knowledgeable in farming. So we have specialists in different areas of businesses who can give them support during the course of the process. But I would have, I was expecting to see more of small entrepreneurial businesses like, different types of, workshops, so to say. We have not seen very many of those. One of the things which I think is interesting, and they are doing quite well actually, is a group that they are carrying household water from Lake Victoria up to the hills with donkeys, which is quite nice, I think, and they're doing pretty well. You see, the issue is, of course, as well that there's no money in the area.
Yeah, that was my next question. I was going to ask how is the money provision?
Well, I usually joke that, now when I go there, they get some fresh money into the economy because, when I look at their notes, the Kenyan shillings, they are so worn out, and the same note is circulating around there. When you go to the market there, it goes around, like this, and it comes back to you after a while. It goes around. They're so worn out, those notes, and it's the same money that is circulating there, and it's very little. There's very little of it. So I'm the only one who's coming in there with fresh money, and so. I'm always giving a small boost to the business there.
That's a challenge.
It is a challenge. Yeah.
Ninde washira ku ruhande uwo musangira byose urukundo rurakura ukabaho mu munyenga laisse-toi aller par la musique de mon cœur qui bat pour toi. Natinyaga kukwegera naramenya kuzaba byose none dore mpora nidegembya nasanzuri uwo nategera ahantu hose uzaba uri niho nanjye nzabambarizwa mu bihe bizaza tuzahorana n'ukuri mbona warandemewe 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 mpora nibaza uko niyumva niba ari njye bibaho gusa icyampa bigahora gutya ubudahinduka umunsi wanje mu buzima nahinduye icyerekezo none dore mpora nidegembya nasanzuri uwo nategera ahantu hose uzaba uri niho nanjye nzabambarizwa mu bihe bizaza tuzahorana.
This project has created a livelihood for about 1,000 people, without mentioning those who benefited from additional income. It's also an inspiring tool for many other youth who hasn't yet decided to participate. But there is another way to approach this issue of entrepreneurship within the youth.
2 years ago, when we got the extension for the livelihood, we decided to take this whole, to move the program to an earlier stage to the schools. And we call it the school program. And we want to create a kind of a permanent culture among the young school children, where we teach them, entrepreneurship. We start with them. In most cases, in all cases actually, it is farming. The school, in Africa, the schoolyards are very big. The only free land actually available is in the schools. They have big schoolyards. So they start. We have 30 schools now, and they have made these schoolyards really like gardens. But they don't only grow vegetables and something to eat, but they also they have put some flowers and plants which you don't see really so much in Africa. So they have made those schoolyards very pretty, and then they can sell the food, and we have opened bank accounts for them, and they have money in their bank accounts. And then they have common money also, the group who participate. Usually they have 30, 40 children, everything from, even from 8 years up to, 14 years old children are working in the fields. And we measure also the academic performance, not so that we expect them to become top students, but so that everybody performs on their own level. So and we reward them, when they, are doing well on the field and they're doing well at school, and we are looking at the change from their own level. Not that we would choose the best student, no. We teach them social responsibility, and they have to, from the money that they make, they also give to some who don't have, if there's somebody who doesn't have a school dress or, whatever, a book or something, pencils or whatever they need. So they, buy for those who don't have. And so it's a kind of, we try to teach them a culture of social responsibility, of saving and, these sort of things, and entrepreneurship and all these things. So maybe we can create a new generation. And the interesting thing is that it has expanded from the schools now to the homes of these children. And, we also promote the women's and girls' rights, so that, usually the men, they get some land, in families, it goes to the boy. But now there are girls who are doing very well, and they have gotten some land at home, and they continue, they do the same thing at home now. And the parents have become very interested. And we have also gathered all the parents into the school who, those parents whose children are participating in the program. And it has been very successful because it gives so fast, it's very obvious, and it gives results. There is something in it for everybody, and you can see the benefits immediately. So it's a very popular program, and there are something like 30, 40 schools lined up to get into the program, but we don't have money now. But hopefully we have money to do that next year. And interesting is also that there are some schools where the number of school children have increased dramatically, because now some of the schools are buying actually the food that they have produced on the field, and they make school meals. So if you get a meal at school, it makes the school very popular. And one school really, they started to get children from an area which was on the other side of the river, And it was a very dangerous route for the children to come to school because sometimes the river was flooding and stuff like that. So we had to build a new bridge over the river so that we could get the children safely to the school. So it has been very successful, and I think that I believe that that's probably the right way of moving forward. Yes, in terms of the sort of employment part of it, in creating a culture among young people, is to go to the schools.
We're talking about schools, and these are activities which are done within groups, right? If
Yes.
I understand very well. But these people will graduate at some point and leave the schools.
Yes.
What will happen in that
Well,
situation?
up till now, 60% of them, they go home and start to do something at home. They are unemployed more or less. But we hope that now these children who leave the school now, that they have learned something there. They understand that, I can't expect anybody to help me. I have to do it myself. And they get the confidence that I can do things and I can make money myself. That's it. This is what they learn at school now. And they understand also, hopefully they start to continue to take social responsibility. They start to put aside a little bit of money, whatever they make. And, they start to take responsibility of themselves. And these are the people I hope that will, not all of them, but some of them, they become examples. They start their small businesses and they become entrepreneurial in a real term. And they start to change the environment and the culture in the area.